The moment they tell you your work is an African art, you are removed from the global dialogue, because there is a description that you have to follow to maintain an African art. So you cannot play with other possibilities. For me, they try and I tell them I'm not an African artist. I'm an artist that happens to come from Africa. So people who embrace so much of being African artists condemn my work that is not authentic African artwork. Performance is not African. This is not African. This is European indoctrination. European what? Or like wearing costume. Is it European? Don't you wear costume? The conditions I talk about, the vulnerability, fear and everything, violence, is it European? This is our life now. So we don't need to pretend like Africanness is about the description of primitivism. I think there were a lot of misteachings, especially in African community. So that disable our thinking and it doesn't make us reason. So for the women aspect, when I started growing, all these costumes I live in today would have been a very big taboo for me to be living in it. Yeah, so I started with the cliches, like panties, braziers. I can't touch a female pant. I can't, because I've been made to believe and know that she's inferior. Even though it is not presented in the public like this, but the female is inferior. But then one thing that kept me thinking about it, why is the opposite different? Because my sisters watch my party. I grew much thinking about all these things, even as a Christian. Then when I got to the university and I started thinking about these things and want to question, I started buying the used panties from the market. And they are European used panties. Then I make collages. I make works with them. I didn't have the courage to even to wear them at the time. But I was confronting my own fear with it. So I was making collages and stuff and opening myself to dialogues and people talking about it. Until I realized, no, there is something wrong. The body itself is very political. And the female body is more political. And it's confrontational. That's why not? I don't need to use it for paint or collage. I don't need to remain conventional to make my statement. Why don't I wear it? Why don't I live it? This is how it started. Until last year, which was 2016, between that period, I used to change forms in terms of being a girl today, a boy tomorrow, or a girl in the next minute. The next minute I'm a man, I'm something else, from the club to church to whatever. Sometimes I move from club and I'm straight going to a church. A church I don't know any church at all. And not because I'm going to worship, but because I want to present a particular body to the people. And sometimes I even dress with living the masculine traces, with my beard and everything. And I dress feminine. And sometimes I encounter dangers, like verbal assault and even sometimes physical harassment. Yeah. So these very things inform me to understand that what I seek to understand is not just an imagination, but it's real. I do this and I transform my studio later, which I want to become an installation on its own and a body of work that I as an artist and also an art piece would be living in. So blending my body to the costume and to the studio space. I was called a pastor. So that is the truth. I was going for presidents, for the pastors, and that was the time I was turning. That was the time I was seeing many things that I wasn't in favor of, and you just have to give a very sharp cut, and it was very, very sharp cut. It's not just easy for over 33, 4 years to live in the belief that there is somebody who is responsible for your success, for your upbringing, for everything, and you could just take that out of your mind in a singular day. Why is ritual important in my performance? Not because of spiritual connotation or religious connotation, but because of repetitions. And of course, which are part of religious activities. The fact that we do the thing over and over and over again and become part of our structures, we now believe that there is some supernatural power or something that is backing it. So I started looking at it, of course, because of gender performativity, and not only that is limited to gender, but ideally even identity politics are very performative. So you need to perform a certain identity to belong to a certain society, a certain cultural group, a certain racial class. So I started looking at rituals of becoming, which became a title later, but rituals of me becoming the other. And that other, I see it like part of me. And all these little rituals I perform could just socially change my identity to become feminine. I also look at it in the context of it is a work, and for that matter, it is treated differently. It has been woven into my life now, so I wouldn't say affect, but it becomes an influence to the certain decisions that I take. So this is where life and art become a synthesis. You might not immediately differentiate between what becomes my life and what is the art, and what is art and what is the life, but they are very much interwoven. Give me another one. Then I have lost many of my old friends, or my good friends, who think that now I am an antichrist, I am demonic, and they walk out of my life. They locked me in the room and prayed for me several times, and because they want to cast out the devil out of me. They believe it's not an intellectual decision. But for how long I'll do this, I could go beyond 10, 20, and even 50 years. Because my work is not just a therapy. It's not a therapy for myself, but it is also a work that I think should eat into the society, should eat into our way of thinking, our way of looking and assessing various bodies, because I think we have been introduced to some specific kind of bodies that when we see other bodies outside these definitions, it becomes very challenging, and sometimes these bodies begin to face certain form of marginalization and also discrimination. It must also be able to affect policies, to affect even religion, to affect a lot of systems. And on the other hand, the very day this performance ends, where I no longer drag, begins a new performance. And that talks about the temporality of the identity I was mentioning.